Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good evening and welcome to my podcast. This is Bob Pace. I'm your host to Hear the Fight Stop Taking Our Children. And I want to warmly welcome you. No matter how often I tie my tie, I always seem to have a hard time tying it sometimes. I don't know if it's because it crinkles up or maybe I need a new tie. I don't know. But I still do the hand tie. I know that people have ties out there that are easy to put on and take off and so forth. Now, this is a live podcast. You just heard from our attorney that produces this podcast. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He is a family juvenile dependency attorney with over 35 years experience. He has fought CPS and got your children back. And he has this live podcast on Saturdays for you to learn special techniques that he's developed your case and whether or not you can get your children back and the techniques and so forth he'll help you with. Now, on Saturday, all you have to do is go to the time at 10 o'clock, go to that website from that ad, and it'll again play again at the end of my podcast, so you get to see the website again. And he also has a Skool, Skool. And the Skool is benefit with classes and so forth. I wondered, Grace, do you not see me? You say I'm not there. I played the podcast and I was trying to fix my tie up because it didn't look right. So that's why there's a delay for me jumping on. Yeah, earlier. Well, yeah, I didn't want to go on while he's doing the podcast. So I played the podcast. And so we're talking now about Mr. Davis. Right now, that for some of your listeners, I have a show producer who really works. You want me to leave again? I'm confused. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I stay off the podcast so that I can play that ad. During that time, I did walk away from my temporary spot to straighten my tie out in the mirror. My tie was tied up in knots and I couldn't get it to go right. It's just once in a blue moon. It's something I don't do. I do these 2 shows twice a day, 7 days a week. So just somehow I just didn't know my tie there. So anyway, I'm talking about Vincent Davis's Skool because there is a link for the Skool here that you guys can join the link. I got to find it here. Oh, for some of you, we're trying to get you people to come to my website to post a comment. There's been some changes in Facebook, and it used to be real simple. People could post comments on any of the Fight CPS rooms, but we have one. Actually, we have 2 rooms on Facebook. One is called Fight CPS with Bob Pays, and the other one is called CPS Attorney Rollerdex Fight CPSA Stop Taking Our Children. So on CPS, you need to find that, and then you type in the comment to go live. Now, YouTube, it says Fight CPS Stop Taking Our Children. So we have right now 3 connections there that you could go to. And so let me see. I have on the screen, post your comments on Facebook page, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. That's so everybody can see it and hear it. Okay. Now, he did mention the Skool, and that's what I'm looking for because we have a thing called a Skool. I thought we did. I had a ticket there that talked about the Skool. It could be. Let me see here. John's got to cut it up. I got a second pizza I haven't cooked, John. Okay, I'm live here. My family's come home, so I was telling them about dinner. I guess we don't have that Skool. Grace, do we still have that? I'm looking for the samples of the banners here. We used to have example banners. There's 6 of them. Anyway, I will try to work on that. The link for the Skool and the price for the schooling to join it. So right now, we're going to concentrate on my podcast. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, Monday through Sunday. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time for an hour, and 7 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time for an hour. The only exceptions is on Sunday, I go to church, so I'm on 2 hours early. Like tomorrow morning, I'll be on at 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. And then I got Friday night light football for the next 4 weeks that'll come on at 4 o'clock. That's on Friday nights only instead of 7 o'clock my time. So those are the only changes there. So you've found the right room. I want you to know that all you have to do be in this room is to take notes and listen. It's very informative, but it's also interacting. You can do emojis such as smiley faces, thumbs up. You can do stars, send me stars, and check below if you want to subscribe to the podcast. Also, if you want to be notified when I'm on, then go ahead and do that. Check the box for be notifications. So there'd be like that. So anyway, we're here to fight an agency called CPS. Now, in every state, there's a little bit different deviations of the word child protection system. I use the child protection to mean all the different acronyms for the agency that fights the protection of our children from neglect and abuse, and also help out families in need, such as food, clothing, shelter, education for the children, hospital, medical, a job. All those, they're supposed to help you. All you do is have to ask if you're a family in need. And a lot of you are in that situation, and it's provided for everybody in the United States, whether you're a citizen or not. And it's available for all. And let me see, there is a notice here. Okay, I have a notice that came on. It's from the CP Attorney Rolodex. It says Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific time for an exclusive live Zoom meeting with California renowned CPS attorney Vincent W. Davis, with over 30 years of experience defending parents against CPS. Mr. Davis has honed strategies and undercover secrets that can make the difference in your case. Do you want to know the secrets? This is your chance to hear directly from the expert. Free for Fight CPS Skool members. For membership benefits, you go to https://www.skool.com. And that thing is on every Saturday at 10 o'clock. And if you join the membership, you get a lot more benefits besides schools. You'll be notified about my podcasts, on and so forth. So that's the notice that just came into the room there. And it's repeated once from the CP Attorney Rolodex, the other one from my page, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Now, to further interact with this podcast, to make you a part of it, I have 3 other ways you can be a part of it. The second way is if you want to type me a comment or a question about your CPS. Now, the child protection system has a lot of issues with it. So you can either make a comment or ask a question about your case. All I ask is you show your name. First name only is all you need to do. Your city or county, that's all I need is a city or county, and then your state. Now, I do have internet that goes around the world, and I have right now 14 countries that have typed me comments. They too have problems with CPS, and we welcome them. It's a worldwide welcome to them right there. And I'll ask for you, for the countries, is your city and your country. Now, countries so far with contact has been Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, the continent of Africa, Liberia in the north on the coast. And then we have Rwanda in Central East Africa near Lake Victoria, Mozambique on the east coast, opposite Madagascar Island, and of course, South Africa, the West Coast province had commented in. Then we go up to Europe. I've had England, Scotland, Wales. That's part of the United Kingdom. And then I've had Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond, I have North America. I have the British provinces of Canada. I shouldn't say British provinces, the provinces of Canada, and then the 50 states of the United States, including Washington, D.C. I've also heard from the First Nation Indians in Canada, and then the Native American Indians in the United States. I've heard from several of the tribes and so forth. Then we go south the border to Mexico, and I heard from Mexico City, and then we go further south to Guyana. And in Guyana, it's in South America, east of Venezuela, north of Brazil, on the east coast of South America. Then across the Pacific to the land down under, I've had Australia, and that's been the Gold Coast on Eastern Australia on the east coast, and then Melbourne in the state of Victoria on the south coast of Australia. It's kind of strange because when you go different parts of the world, east and west are confusing. But that gives you a general idea that we're the people that have come into this room with a CPS question or a comment. And it's been very beneficial to people here, how they do it, like say over in England and so forth. So I'm open to everybody that has a concern, that wants to ask a question or make a comment. Lastly, I ask you to be complete with your CPS case here. Help me out by telling me, your family makeup. Are you a husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, lovers? Are you partners? And are you the same parents as the children? Are you different parents? Are you a single parent trying to raise your children? Also, what were the allegations that your children, you were accused doing with your children? And then what are the ages of the children and the sexes of their children? And then how were they taken? How were they taken from your home? Did you give them up? Did they storm in and ask for them? I'd like to know that. And lastly, where you at on your case? So if you tell me all that thing, we're going to go back and forth playing ping pong. But that's okay. I'm very open to how you want to interact in this podcast, because this podcast is for you guys. It helps me to talk about it, to share. Yes, I was involved in CPS. I've been fighting for 15 years. And my case was a bad one. I lost one of my children, and I lost my home, lost my credit, but I'm making it. It's hard. It's hard. And, I know and feel for you. I'm a family man, a father of 6 children, and I've had 42 years of marriage. I had a first wife of 10 years and a daughter, and I've not seen my daughter since she's 3. My wife left me, and then I have a second wife for 32 years. We've been together, and we have produced 3 children, and then she had 2 other children. So together, our family is 6 children. We have the older ones, the 3 older ones, which are my firstborn, and my wife's 2 children, and then we have the 3 we had together. The 3 we had together were stolen by the child protection system. They were trafficking, which is illegal, into foster care. They also were alienated from parents, and that's something you're going to experience. And at the time, I was going through a rough time in my life. I was age 60, and I lost my job through no fault of my own. And so what I was trying to do was, get work and so forth. But unfortunately, I had some allegations made against me and my wife by her family. They're lay persons. There's 2 ways you make allegations: lay people and professional. Professionals are your doctors and nurses and teachers, caregivers, etc., that learn about how to recognize abuse and neglect and how to report it. But there's also another group of individuals that report allegations too. And a lot of it isn't true. A lot of it's for retaliation or alienation with parents. And it's sad to say that the way the CPS works, whether a professional makes a complaint or a layperson makes a complaint, they believe it's 100% true. You're guilty. They're going to start an investigation within 24 hours, and they usually want to come by and search your home, take your children away from you, whether they're in imminent danger. And that's the whole purpose of doing all that, is so once they open up a case, the money starts to come in. Money is given to the social workers for incentives and bonuses. Like in my case in Orange County in Southern California, there was $20,000 per child. 3 of my children, that's $60,000 that was given to the Orange County Child Protection services. Each county varies and so forth, but also not only is they're giving money to the child care system for bonuses, incentives, they're also giving it to foster parents. There's a thing going on that I think is like a scam. If you want to get money and you want to adopt children, then become a foster care parent in CPS because they don't do any formalized training. It's very limited, and you become a foster care right away, and you can adopt the children right away. In the real world, when you want to adopt a child, you have to go through a vetting process where you're screened both state and federal for your background check and so forth. Also, it takes many years to adopt a child because you have to make sure you're the correct parents. But since CPS, has a mandate during the Bill Clinton presidency and Hillary Clinton that they get money, incentives for every child they get. There's quotas and goals. That's what's happened is the CPS has used those goals to make money. They know if they get a big bonus or incentive, the more money's there. The sad part also is the Child Protection Agency is corrupt. There's no accountability. There's no board of directors or supervisors or anybody watchdogging the CPS. They're allowed to do anything they want. And it is corrupt. It is corrupt. Now, that doesn't mean that all CPS is bad. I'm not saying that, but they're far and few. I've had 3 people on my show so far, and I've been talking since October of 2023. They were social workers. One was a clinical psychiatrist that had 6 months of training in Maryland and told me about how she handled CPS. Another one was a third-party social worker who came to an aid to help when they're low on people and so forth, and she agreed that the system is corrupt. And then the third one was a foster care mother that did not do adoptions, but does taking care of the children while they get back to their families. You see, there are some good people out there. I'm not saying all social workers are bad, but the sad part is that the majority of the cases seem to be that way. I know from firsthand experience. I know how my children were taken, and they weren't in imminent danger. They weren't in imminent danger. Stories were made up. They were fishing, and that's when you don't want to let them come in your home. You don't want to talk to social workers. You don't let them give them your children. And you have Constitution and civil rights that protect you. You need to know it. You need to go and research all that. There's a lot that you need to know. And here I can try to help you. I really encourage all of you. As soon as we have someone come in, it's been 22 minutes, and I don't know why we don't have people. Usually I have people at night, but we've been having trouble lately recruiting our people and our regulars. So every night I always try to get our regulars to come in and let me see if I can get them right now. Now, the third way of interacting with this podcast is to be a guest on our show. To be a guest on our show, email our show producer, who is Grace. She works behind the scenes at vincentwdavis.com. She's really a hard worker, and she really tries to make this room beneficial. She's working so hard with YouTube and Facebook and StreamYard, which is the application that I use when I stream on YouTube, to try to get the people come and so forth. There's been a lot of changes made, and we're slowly but surely fighting it there. So I do know that. Now, to be scheduled as a guest, all you have to do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentdavis.com. And you need to pick one of my days. Now, I already told you my show days are 7 days a week, in morning or evening. And all you do is tell her I want to be on Bob's morning show or evening show, and she'll get you on there. She'll send you a link to StreamYard. Don't lose the link. If you get knocked off, you can reuse it again. It's good for that show. Also, she'll tell you what to do and not to do as a guest, and such as we do not smoke or eat on the show. Also, we do not use the names of children, social workers, or the judges. We do not use the names. And then she'll send you that link, and you'll be on my show, and I can take up to 9 people. That's a total of 10. I can be on this podcast. I think it's 10 people is the max. So I can take up to 9 guests. So I look forward to you being my guest, and she'll help you with your lighting and your sound and so forth. It's very important that we get those worked out, and try to use a computer instead of a phone. A phone is acceptable, but try to do that. Now, the last way you can interact with this podcast is to call in to my office number. It's 626-698-0990. And I use Vonage, which is an internet phone application. So if you're familiar with Vonage, that's what I do. So you just dial in 626-698-0990. I put you on speakerphone. So try to have your sound turned down so it doesn't cause feedback. And you can talk on my show, and you just won't be seen. And sometimes that's another way of doing it. That's the 4th way to interact with my podcast. 1 is be in this room. 2 is making comments. 3 is to be a guest. And 4 is to call in. So I look forward to you. One of those ways of finding out about CPS. Now, I have topics loaded. I have 75 tabs open from around the states about different topics, like ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, which basically deals with Indian children. For 150 years, CPS has not been trying to reunify the families when they take Indian children. So in 1978, they passed an act which says that CPS must establish, if the children are Indian, that they are registered or could be registered with one of the 548 federal tribes. And if so, the children are turned over to the tribe, and the tribe will put them in Indian families to reunify the children. Because it's been proven, reunification is the best way, and the parents, the biological parents, are the best way to raise children. The biological parents, studies have shown. So it's very important that we do reunification, and you want to make sure that your attorney that you hired or your court-appointed attorney is fighting for your case. And I'll be talking about attorneys in a minute. We've talked about earlier about Mr. Davis, but I'll be talking about that. I try to change my show a little bit so it's not so repetitious, but there's always so much you can talk about. But the best part of the show is when I have interaction with people. When they type in a comment, they call in, or they're a guest, and it goes through a lot easier and a lot better. But we're trying to get the people into the room. And I'm trying to reach out as I speak now to people that usually So far we've had nobody in the room tonight. I see 0 because I have a little eye on my screen that tells me from the rooms that we have out there. We have 2 rooms: the CPS attorney Rolodex and Fight CPS with Bob Pace. Those are the 2 rooms. And so far, I don't see anybody there. Now, these shows are pre-recorded, so you can watch them over and over. I have many shows, and a lot of them are repetitious. My rules, I have 5 rules that I talk about, and they will help you in your case. I also talk about the kinds of social workers that you're encountering, that you're dealing with. I talk about how the um, child protection system is set up and how corrupt it is and how bad it is. I'm not saying everybody is bad in CPS. I'm not saying all cases are bad. But what I'm hearing is from the majority of the people I've talked to, the 500 people, the case has been horrifically bad. And mine was bad. I know firsthand experience. And I have some regulars that they too are bad too. In fact, let me see here. I'm trying to reach them, getting there. So, okay, we got someone in the room. Great. Welcome, who just came in my room. I think they're from Fight CPS with Bob Pace. If you want to give me a hello to see if it's working from the room you're in, or you want to call my call-in number, 626 698 0990, that'd be great. Or type me a comment in there. So I welcome you to my show tonight. Also, you may want to tell me what you'd like me to do or cover. I have another subject that I get from Core's Digest. It's a series of questions that people make, and then there's answers, and then we kind of discuss them. It's an application that I have. I have it set for filtering for CPS. So I have CPS questions, and then there's answers, and we could do that a little bit too. Now, one of the first rules that I have, and the most important rule, is you need representation. You need a lawyer. And I cannot emphasize how important it is to have a lawyer. Luckily and fortunately, I have one. His name is Vincent W. Davis. Yes, he produces podcasts. He has a law firm of numerous attorneys that deal in different areas of law. He deals in the, criminal matters, divorce matters, real estate matters, immigration, the workplace, insurance matters, anything that deals with the law. And the one that's the most important one that you're all in here is dependency law, the juvenile family dependency law. And they are responsible for your CPS case. CPS is complicated, and I cannot emphasize how bad it is. And you need a professional attorney that's trained in school and CPS, that has fought CPS, that's fought the child protection system. Okay. Okay, we have Sadie Lynn Vega. I think you've been in before. I'm just sending this comment to show you that comments, if they are the same Fight CPS, show up. Yeah. Hi, Cindy Lynn Vega. I thank you so much for making sure the comments are working. So she went into my Facebook page, I think, and And thank you so much, Sadie Lynn Vega. And um, I think I know Sadie Lynn Vega. I just, my memory sometimes isn't all that great. I thought it was because I see so many names in there. But I think you're on last night too, before. Anyway, thank you for checking it out to make sure it's working. Did you want to, you have something you want to talk about, Sadie? Okay, we were talking about get an attorney. That's my rule number one. And I was trying to tell you that it's like open heart surgery. If you know anything about open heart surgery, you're going to get a doctor. You're not going to get a plumber. You're not going to get a mechanic, an auto mechanic. You're going to get a bona fide medical doctor, someone that's trained in medical school, that has done an internship, got a license, and is a mentor with another heart specialist to learn about how to work on the heart. CPS is the same way. You need a professional. You need somebody that's been around a long time. And the attorney I'm speaking about is Vincent Davis. Not only he's, attorney for 30 years, he's a trial attorney. And on top of that, he also does civil lawsuits where he's won millions of dollars, both in state and federal courts. So that should tell you something. There are two questions you can ask any attorney. One, are you a dependency family juvenile attorney? Two, have you ever sued CPS and won a civil case? And if the answer to those questions are yes, then you found yourself a good attorney. Because any attorney that sues CPS will certainly get your children back of some wrongdoing. Court and the legal process is very complicated. I don't know if you've ever been to court or anything like that. Even a simple little automobile traffic ticket, and you go to court and you plead guilty or not guilty. That is your arraignment. And then you have your court date, and the officer shows up and he tells what the case is about, and then you try to tell him, no, you didn't do it, and you got to do that. Well, that's one court, how it works. But in the children court, in dependency law, it doesn't work that way. You're automatically guilty either by a layman or a professional person accusing you of neglect or abuse. They investigate you, but they don't require the individual making the call to put it in writing or sign your name. I think they should sign a name. I think it should be in writing. It can be kept in confidence, but you could go after them if they lied, because they did. In my case, and I'm talking firsthand knowledge, I had my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, her three sisters or brothers, once a week for 5 years. Would call in and make up ridiculous stories like we weren't feeding our kids, we weren't sheltering our kids, we weren't clothing our kids, they were not going to school. It goes on and on and on. And every time I'd meet with a social worker underneath the lights of the street, because I was embarrassed to have them in my neighborhood, because I lived in a very well-to-do neighborhood and there was CC&Rs, and you really couldn't do anything. If your drain gutter is a certain position or you got the wrong kind of curtains, you'd hear about it. Or if you had too many cars parked in your driveway. It was the CC&Rs. It was 1 mile from the beach. It was a secure neighborhood. Anyway, I had to deal with that. Now, it's an unpleasant experience. And during those 5 weeks, I let them in my home too. I didn't know there was a law that said you don't have to let them in your home. I did not know about that. And so I lived in my home, and there's nothing to hide. They saw everything they wanted to see, and they did not say anything negative about anything I had in my home. My home was a beautiful home. It was, I lost that home. Thank you, CPS. So mean to make me lose my home. Oh boy, I hate talking about that. But we're talking about getting a bona fide attorney, somebody that can help your case. And I've made arrangements. There's a ticket running on the bottom of my screen that says you can book a discounted Zoom consultation with attorney Vincent Davis for up to 30 minutes. And this is arrangements I made with Vincent Davis. And you go to this website, https:// candidly, CALENDLY.com /APPTS VWD /Bob Pace. Now, if you go there, you go ahead and book your Zoom meeting. It will cost you only $60 for 30 minutes. $60 for 30 minutes. And it will relieve you to talk to Vincent. He'll tell you about the strategies and how to get your kids back and about CPS. Also, if you want to talk about hiring him, he'll talk about his retainer. His office practices in Arcadia, but he'll go anywhere in California or any of the other 49 states. He can practice law in any of them. The only difference is when he leaves the Arcadia, which is in Southern California near the LA area, is that he needs ground transportation, airfare, hotel, and food, the combination of things. That is his per diem. Now, he charges the per diem because he has to. I mean, he has to make a living, and he's worth every dime you spend on him. His rates are the same, though, whether in Southern California or in Pennsylvania or Maine or Alaska or anywhere. He is right now, he has a case he's doing in Oklahoma. He has another case in Northern California. He has Riverside County, LA County, and Orange County he's got cases in. And the retainer is typical of all lawyers. It's a flat fee you pay, and then you got a supplement as the retainer gets smaller. It's so you don't run out of money and the attorney stops doing your case. Now, most of you that come to my podcasts are low income. I was low income when I lost my job. I still am low income, by the way. I do have a job lined up that I'm hearing about. Maybe Monday I have some good news. But I'm still trying to find work and a career in my job. Unfortunately, at the age of 60 in 2010, I lost my job through no fault of my own. No fault of my own. I lost my job. And it was a hard thing for me to swallow, a really hard thing to swallow. And losing the job and then fighting CPS, that was bad. I also had a predatory loan. And that predatory loan is where you get overqualified for a loan you can't pay back. And I did not know that. So, having a predatory loan is hard enough as it is. Not having a job and then dealing with the CPS all the time was bad. That was so bad. And so I was a bad candidate for CPS because I had no income, which most of you in here don't have income. And it's sad because I had a career job. I worked for 60 years. And I'm a family man, as I told you, and I have 6 children I had to take care of. Luckily, my older children have moved out. The last one moved out at age 25. My other one, who's in his 40s, is a JAG Air Force. He has grandchildren. I mean, I have grandchildren. He has children, and his wife and them are both attorneys, but he works in the Air Force as a JAG attorney. His wife works in public practice. I don't know what specialty her attorney is. And then my oldest daughter is a school teacher. I've not seen her since age 3. I've been bits and pieces finding out about her, but I miss her terribly. And then my second oldest daughter left at age 25, got a college degree, is now a professor at a college, doing quite well I have grandchildren there, so she has children there. So my 3 older children are very successful. Unfortunate during this incident, especially in 2015 when they stole my children, they believe everything that was against the parents. What happens that when you have family members that go rogue or go bad, this big squirrel or things. So right now, my wife and I are not in touch with our 3 older children. And sad to say is that one of our 3 younger children were stolen. And yes, they were stolen. They were trafficking into foster care. We have our 2 boys back. They live at home. And so there's 4 of us now instead of 8. There was 8 of us. In that home, we had a beautiful dining room table that could seat 8 people. And everyone would have their own chair. And it was a full-on dining room, very rich looking and everything. But for some strange reason, my life is what it is. Maybe it's because I can share my story to help all of you. Now, I have 2 people in the room now. Welcome. They both came in Fight CPS with Bob Pace. If you want to make a comment and talk about what you like to talk about, I'm open. I'm just now talking about rule number 1 about getting an attorney and how important it is to have an attorney. Fighting CPS is like your Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the rabbit hole, you met the Cheshire Cat, and the Cheshire Cat is trying to go from room to room, and you go nowhere. Like one room is off with your head. I mean, CPS is so much like Alice in Wonderland. They're very corrupt, and a good example of social workers in CPS are the Pink Ladies of Prescott, Arizona. In 2022, 8 female social workers with 25 years of experience decided to wear pink t-shirts. Now, pink is a color for breast awareness. And so I have no idea why they stenciled on the front of the t-shirts, professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, do you know where your children are at? Do you know where your children are at? What kind of message does that send you if these 8 social workers are wearing that? They walked around in Costco, Kmart, Walmart, Target, Best Buys, and people were shocked. They called in. The social workers, all 8 of them were fired. They're not supposed to talk to anybody, and the director was fired. That left that agency with 1 social worker, a male guy that's supposed to handle all the call-ins and all the cases in CPS. So it hurts CPS in a lot of ways. Having bad social worker hurts families, but also no one there to protect their children that do need help. There are thousands of people per day. Stats. People sometimes want to know stats. And just to give you some idea, these are statistics about Child Protection Agency. And again, I don't know who produced these. These are researched on the internet. But they said the number of investigations before turning 18 was 37.4% of the children in the U.S. were investigated by CPS. That's a high percentage. That's almost half of our children population. The number of referrals in the 2022 CPS received, this is from professionals and from lay people, 4.276 million reports of child maltreatment. Now that's a lot. That's 4 million reports. That's a lot of reports. And a lot of them were true. A lot of them, the children were lost. But a majority of them were not true, and they're used by retaliation by lay people. The professionals who are trained do a lot better job. Now, the number of victims in 2022 was 5 million children were involved in child abuse reports. 7.5 million children. Not one, not two. Look at that. That is terrible. And then 26% of the victims were neglected. 26% were neglected. And then 17% were physically abused, and 10.6 were sexually abused, and 6.8 were mentally or were psychologically maltreated. Now, those are horrible statistics. And the number of deaths in the year 2022 is estimated over 1,990 children died from abuse and neglect. That's the ones that are reported. That's almost 2,000 children died in the year 2022. And the reports in 2021 that were submitted by professionals was 67%, and the reports by lay people was 33%. So you can see that lay people do almost half of them. And who's at most risk? Children on the age of 1. Infants have the highest rate of child abuse at 20.2 per thousand infants. What is also sad, the ones who most likely be investigated, Black children are reported the highest rate of white children. Twice as high. And those are some simple statistics that I'm sharing with you. Now, getting this attorney is utmost importance because I know income's going to be a problem. I had to sell my home to get money to get my attorney. You may have to do the same thing or get a credit line or loan from a family member or try to raise money through the church or something like that to get your children back. So if those stats tell you anything, you got to be careful. So I emphasize that you're going to get an attorney. Try to do it pro bono. That means fight it yourself. Won't last long. Using a court-appointed attorney won't work either. Why? Because they have a caseload of 30 more clients, so they don't have time for your case. They barely will meet you just before your hearing in the hallway before your court. That's not the way to talk to a client. They also they're only trained in criminal law. They're not trained in dependency law. So they don't know how to fight it. They don't want to fight because they're not paid enough. They're just going to push it through, and you're going to for sure lose your children. So I emphasize how important it is to fight CPS with a professional attorney, a family juvenile dependency attorney, one that has fought CPS, has gotten your children back, and so forth. And as I say, I got it scrolled across the bottom. All you have to do, they have a Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis, is to book that consultation there. Now I have another number on my screen, 888-888-6582. That number is the law office. You can call that number to get any attorney for any of your needs. You also can get Mr. Davis that way. Make sure when you call in or you speak to Mr. Davis that you tell him I sent you. Make sure you do so. Now, I have about 5 minutes left of my podcast, and I've talked about only one of my rules. And I like to go over another important rule, my rule number 3. And the reason why that is so important is that you're going to experience someone come knocking at your door. Now, there's one thing I tell people: try not to answer your door if someone comes knock. You don't know who it is. And there's been a lot of cases where police have come to the door knocking and don't know how to correctly knock at a door or how to search the home or things. And they shoot people first. They ask questions later. The only problem is guns kill. And there was a black airman who answered his door in a well-to-do apartment complex, and the sheriff had the wrong place. He was investigating domestic violence, and he was on FaceTime with his girlfriend by himself. He took his gun and fired 5 times as soon as the guy opened the door. The guy didn't stand a chance. It was only a foot away from his chest. Sure, the sheriff's fired. Now the sheriff is being sued. But that doesn't bring back the dead airman or the girlfriend who lost her future boyfriend or husband or wherever he was going to be to her. That's a horrific thing there. So keep that in mind. When someone goes knocking the door, go to the other part of the house. You can arrange with your family and friends special knocks, or you can arrange other things too. So I'm telling you that be awful careful on answering the door. They'll be back again, so hopefully they'll leave a card or a way to contact them. And if it is a social worker, CPS, or the police, you can call them up and you can tell them that I need to have my attorney present. We got to meet, but always meet at a neutral place. Do not meet at their office or at your home. Don't ever do that. And make sure you try to get an attorney to be with you. It's a good stalling technique. Also, ask them to make an appointment. Anytime you have an appointment with a doctor or anybody else, you have to make an appointment. Same thing goes for CPS. They just can't drop in unexpectedly because you will not be perfect in your home. It may have clutter. You may have things that maybe you should put away and stuff. That's why you don't want to let them in, because they'll see something and they're just fishing. They're fishing for things they can charge you with. They've heard the allegations, but they don't know if they're true. Now, if you encounter them outside, you can tell them that, be nice to them, but you need to have your attorney present. Can you give me your name and phone number? And make sure you get their card and it matches their ID. Same thing with the policeman. Make sure the badge number is written down, because they will use different names. They will lie. I'm sorry to tell you that they will lie. And there's lots of court cases on the internet where they will lie, they will lie. I keep seeing people bouncing in and out. So right now, we've had as much as 2 people tonight. And I know that people are able to make comments because we had Sadie Lynn Vega type in a comment to show that comments are coming in. And so I have no idea what's going on with people tonight. I've notified my regular listeners, including some of them that I haven't talked to in a while. But it's been a while since I've talked to some. It's also a Saturday night, so people may be out in family. It's not guaranteed I'll have a lot of people. But anyway, going back to that rule, there's only 3 ways they can enter your home or take away your children. If you give them permission, or someone in the home gives them permission, that's one way they can enter your home. Now, if there's domestic violence going on where you're arguing with your child, which is a no-no, and if 2 guys are sitting there fighting with guns and knives, and the children are present, or the children are being strangled or held, that is extreme danger. That means they're going to come in, the police and the social workers. So that's the second way. The third way is they have a court warrant, and that warrant has to be a specific set of paper that has the judge's wet signature that's been stamped by the clerk, a raised signature, so it can't be forged, and that it specifically gives the name of the people investigating the children, the allegations, the address, street, and then the date and time they can investigate and what they can do. So I got to end my show now. It's 8 o'clock, and I want to thank you again. There'll be an ad right after my show, so please listen to it. I want to thank you all for being in here. Please keep fighting your children. I'll see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning Pacific.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.